Well, I have to say, this car is very interesting. It's a lot better than I anticipated. First of all, I'm just going to run through the basics, like I do with every car. The rear view vision is pretty good. The headrests do obstruct the vision quite a bit, though, it has to be said. Side mirrors are huge, plenty of vision going on there. You have no problem seeing where you've been. We're going to do a 0 to 60 test in a moment. Instrument cluster here, very clear, very precise, slightly obstructed by the top of the steering wheel. Here you have all your satellite controls, radio, etc, etc. Everything's very basically laid out, even though it's quite neat and tidy. No problems operating that while you're driving. It's a 6-speed manual. And 0 to 60 test coming up. 3, 2, 1. Despite not being the fastest car, this does have quite a bit of torque behind it. Once you're up and going and you're doing 30-40 miles an hour, when you put your foot down, you do feel a surge of power. So it's quite a fun car to drive in that sense, and it also has like a turbo whistle to it. I don't know whether it is actually the turbo or whether it's some other mechanical device, but it's quite an appealing sound. Now, what I like to do when I'm driving most cars, especially when I'm round about an average speed of about 40-50 miles an hour, is I like to give the cars a bit of a wiggle from the steering wheel. Reason being, it gives me an idea what the car's characteristics are going to behave like if I was to do an emergency swerve at speed, rather a bit like this. Now, the car does have a roll to it, but it's a very appealing roll because it feels very enthusiastic. You really do feel like you could chuck the car around if you wanted to, and it feels like it's going to respond to your intentions of steering very well indeed. I mean, it's pulling away lovely now. It's got a nice surge of power, very smooth, and the suspension, the shocks, it all feels solid, but it feels comfortable at the same time. I really am very impressed with this car. It's a superb ride, and what it lacks in appearance, you know, like this cheap, crappy plastic all over the place, it certainly makes up for in its drive quality. This is a very, very good car to drive, and even though it's probably not designed for that purpose, I wouldn't mind going off-road with this, within reason anyway. Now, back to the steering. The steering is so responsive. There's hardly any lag on this steering wheel at all. You turn that steering wheel and the wheels follow immediately. Now, I will say there is quite a lot of noise coming from the underneath of the car, and also a lot of wind noise. It is a big vehicle, it is going to be pushing the air out of the way, but it is very noisy. Now, the interior generally isn't too bad. It's probably a little bit bleak and bland, but the driving position, the seating, it's all very comfortable, and I would feel more than comfortable to drive across the country in this car for several hours. In fact, I would be more comfortable driving something like this than I would in something like a big saloon car. It ticks a lot of the boxes, this car, and it really, really does shine on its own. I'm going to do a brake test now, not an emergency stop. I'm just going to brake firmly just to get an idea of the characteristics of the brakes. Now, that is a very impressive brake delivery. Very smooth, very powerful, no grippy grabbiness of the brakes. It was able to apply gradual pressure, and the delivery was perfectly synchronized on all 4 calipers. This is a great car, and I would summarize now by saying, if anybody's thinking about taking one of these for a test drive, to buy one, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. What you have here is a great car, and I feel that it's well put together, it drives well, it even goes around the corners well, and with Honda's reliability, I don't think you're going to go wrong. If there's anything I personally would go for with this car, I would probably look into getting one with a bigger engine, because the bigger engine you get on this, the better this car is going to get.